Imagine a building's on fire. 3 hours later, the firefighters arrive. Most of the people inside the building are dead now. Only rescue a few people. And the building was completely black. Completely. It wasn't fully in ashes, but it was completely gone. It was still standing there, but it could collapse anytime. So, mainstream media began to attack the firefighters, saying, "Where were you guys? 3 hours." But then it came out that they were only informed 2.5 hours after the fire started. There's a whole different scenario. That means that all the people around there who saw the building on fire, who smelled smoke nearby, were all in on it. Rashid, are you telling me they had a big conspiracy to kill all those people in the building? No, I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is, the moment the smoke went all in the sky, the moment it was clear that there was a fire going on, you saw all the people try to run out. You, as a bystander, it was your obligation to contribute to justice. And with justice, this case means you call the ambulances, you call the police, you call the firefighters, you call whatever emergency service there is. You have a smartphone, you have connection. And by the way, you don't need to have data or a phone subscription in order to call the emergency lines. Why didn't anyone do it? Oh, but guess what? On social media, there are many videos going around. People film what's going on. The videos, the clips that were recorded are a sensation on social media. Wait, so people had the time to record what's going on and to talk about it, but they didn't have the ability to call for help for those people there? Ooh, this is quite horrible, right? Oh, it gets worse. There were tenants complaining about gas leaking for weeks. But the landlord didn't do anything about it. Wow, it gets worse and worse. Now, who's to blame here? Well, the landlord is to blame, of course. The local authorities are to blame for not doing proper checks. But what about the community? How come a building's on fire in your community and you don't do anything about it? Even before the building was on fire, there were rumors the building was unsafe. Why didn't you guys expose it? Saying, we don't want this in our community. Wow. But if there are homeless people walking down the street and say, hey, I don't want to see those homeless people, they bother me. Or if people are standing with a sign talking about Jesus loves you, Jesus coming back and say, man, don't put that religious propaganda in my face. Or when you see someone you don't like because you decided you don't like them, suddenly you're upset. So people know how to act and complain and go off. Why is there acting out and complaining and being direct when it's needed? Listen, often it's not the actual perpetrator you need to look at. The perpetrator is to blame because, he or she is a perpetrator. But what about all the other people that contribute to that outcome? Okay, if you are born in the United States of America or in the United Kingdom or Australia, New Zealand, you likely speak English as your native language. Why? Because English is the spoken language of the country. And because of that, when you grow up as a child, that's what you get. Now, if you're from a migrant background, you may also have a second language that you know fluently. But apart from that, English is expected for you to learn. Expected to learn, and you will speak English, whether you like it or not. You will master English. Now, if you grow up in Britain and you speak fluent British English, the official English, and you say it's all by myself, people say it's not by yourself. You didn't invent the English language. You were a little baby. Everyone else spoke British English. We're the ones that shaped you in speaking British English like that. You're a product of us. If you end up getting a university degree and a good salary, a job with a good salary, and you say it's all by my own effort, we'll say no, you didn't. What about your parents who brought you to school when you were little? What about the teacher that saw hope in you? Anytime you claim to be self-made, society will remind you, no, you're not. You have to give credit. Hold on. But if someone ends up as a serial killer or a mass shooter or a mass killer, suddenly, the parents messed up. Or it must be a demon or whatever. Hold on. Why is it that society always demands its credit when it comes to something good? When it comes to something bad, we know what goes on. No, because people don't want to be called out on their neglect. That's why. So they always want to have some monster to blame. I don't care whether someone is a monster or not. Where is the contribution of the community? The community contributed to its outcome. Okay, if you're part of a community that's neglectful, you may not be neglectful, but if the community is neglectful, you're part of that community, you participate in the blame of that community. So you can't say, well, I didn't neglect those children, or I didn't do this, I do that. Okay, you individually didn't, but you're part of a collective that did. So you participate in that collective. So it means you also participate in the blame and the damnation of that collective also. You don't want to participate in that, then you should be part of another collective. Simple as that. I mean, if you're part of a gang and the gang commits a murder, you will be charged as an associate of that gang. But I didn't shoot the individual, I didn't stab him, no. But you're part of the collective that did. And you know full well the collective is part of this. So you gave consent by staying part of that collective. That's why you're charged too. That's how it often goes in the world. Well, why is it when it comes to gang members, we have this logic, you're part of this collective that's involved in doing wrong, so we have a right to charge you also what the group does wrong. Why doesn't it apply to society? Why when some of the quote-unquote failures or the demands of society come out suddenly, or is the parents that mess individual up, not us, just raise your children well. So when it comes to taking, everyone wants to take. When it comes to actually contributing and complying with solutions, everyone has excuses, where everyone gets pissed off. Now everyone is the victim now, because they're demanded to participate in solutions. Listen, if you, for example, were sexually molested as a child, just a hard example, okay, the perpetrator will molest you, to blame, of course. But what about all the other people who notice warning signals or symptoms with you, something was wrong? Where were they? They were around. They noticed things. Why didn't they do anything about it? So they were in on it too. I'm not saying they're all child molesters, but they were in on the molestation because they noticed warning signals, but they insist on doing none because they want to be left alone. Listen. Stop being so obsessed with the perpetrators. Stop fetishizing evil people or bad people. Where are the other people who went MIA, missing in action? Where were they? Often it's the absence and silence that speaks louder than words. It's the absence and silence for the people is more disturbing. And some of these people, when things come out, where their absence and silence becomes obvious, now they look bad. Now they are, oh crap, now they want to go through this. So then they will come up with some weird excuse just to brush off all the wrong they've done. Or some of these people may suddenly act very kind towards you, extremely kind. And they will do this in a public way just to convince everyone else they're very good people. While in fact they're not. Listen, if people want to change for the better, they can. If someone wants to change for the better, then we shouldn't keep using the past against them. Absolutely not. But they actually have to become better and safer human beings. All of us have the obligation to be better and safer human beings. You owe the community, but the community also owes you. It goes both ways, not just you owing the community. When people refuse to admit that something's wrong, because they refuse to take responsibility and refuse to admit their contribution. Listen, check who was absent, check who was silent. Listen, you can't expect everyone to jump into a bad situation to do something about it, because not everyone is capable. Okay, that's logical. But if people were able to either say something about it, either to ease down the tension or to divert the bad situation, and they didn't, or if people were there and just act like they weren't there because they don't want to be bothered or they want to be left alone, blah, 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 then they are guilty and blame. And to blame, they're blameworthy. And they should be treated as such. No, there's a guilt tripping. It's not guilt tripping. It's a fact. You are to blame. You're blameworthy. Now, you can become a better and safe human being. Then you've complied with justice, and then we can leave that behind us. But if you're still the same neglectful coward, then we have to treat you as such. Only when you've improved and become a better and safe human being will you get better treatment. Too often, we give people a pass, while we should force them to comply with justice. Listen. Stop fetishize evil and bad people. Check who were absent and check who was silent. Absent doesn't have to be literal absent. For example, a father abandons the family, or uh, you know, people should be there but they're not there. Sometimes people are there but their attitude is absent. They don't participate in and out. They're distracted or they don't want to face anything. That happens with addicts often. Who was absent and who was silent? Sometimes it's the absence and silence of people that's the most disturbing. More disturbing than the perpetrator and the perpetrator's misfortune. So, always look at the bigger picture. And listen, if people ghosted you, walked away from you, talk shit behind your back, and all of that, if they truly are sorry and they truly want to be better human beings, then they should become better human beings, and then they can reconnect with you in a more constructive and better way. That's fine. Then you should leave the past, should put the past aside and actually deal with them how they are now, because they're better and safer now. Because they're also taking responsibility of how they were, and now they're contributing to better. That's good. But if people just want to be left alone and they just do a kind thing, just shut your mouth, or if the community wants to hush the voice of the victims because they don't want things to come out, I'm sorry. That's injustice, that's cowardice, that's cruelty. There's no way to justify it. And there's no way you should comply with this. Look, you don't have to go out there and start fights and problems by exposing things all the time. Don't do that. But also, don't be part of the violence of the collective, because you're still part of it. So, check who was absent. Check who was silent. Hold them accountable. You don't have to confront them directly. That may escalate. Don't do that. But mark it for yourself. And if they don't improve, don't grant any amnesty. You forgive. Forgiveness should be your attitude naturally anyway, but you don't grant amnesty. All right? That's it for now. Keep creaming Christ and be at peace.